Burr, Ontario is located in London Township within Middlesex County at the intersection Highway 4, which is Richmond Street of London, formerly Proofline Road, and 13 Mile Road. A small community that at one time was bustling with activity as stagecoaches arrived daily with patrons to the hotel as they traveled through London or began their new life in a new continent. My name is Angie, and I'll be your host on this episode of Main Street, Canada. Today we explore the history of Burr, Ontario, along with some of the interesting facts of how the village began, who was there, and what they did. So before we get started, please click the like and subscribe. Our journey today begins with a young married couple, Charles and Ann Goulding, natives of Queen's County, Ireland, choosing to embark on a life-changing experience and immigrating to Canada. They packed up everything they could carry, and along with small children in tow, they departed for Canada. The voyage was not easy and proved fatal for one of the Goulding children. The child was buried at sea, and with no other choice, they carried on. The Gouldings reached Canada in 1818 and settled in Middlesex County. Charles worked as a blacksmith, a trade he had learned in Ireland. His selection was Concession 6. It was here that he purchased 100 acres of land. Charles then added 300 acres of land where his son Charles S. would live. Of the two original Empire Loyalists, Goulding made nearly all the improvements to the farm himself, becoming one of the wealthiest landowners in the county and father of 9 children. His family would continue to contribute to the community for generations. Burr, once known as Bobtown, was renamed sometime around 1840s when a man named John Griffin immigrated from Burr, Ireland, and selected to settle on the corner of the land between London and Lucan. At this time, a small community was established and farms had been working the land in the area, but as a weaver, he was not looking to farm. Griffin chose to build a small shop on the corner of the Hughes family farm where he lived and conducted business, gaining popularity and influence within the community over time. Griffin encouraged the renaming of the hamlet to Burr after his hometown, and it was accepted. Bobtown was no more. Burr now stood in its place. John died at the age of 37 in 1856. A visit to the Burr United Cemetery will take you to his marker. After Griffin's death, the post office arrived and officially accepted Burr as the permanent name for this hamlet, eternally honoring the Irish-born weaver. By 1873, a hotel was added to the streetscape, and afternoon stagecoaches running from London to Lucan, which is 7 miles north, would stop overnight in Burr. Approximately halfway the distance of the trip, they would continue on the next day to complete it. One of these stagecoach companies was operated by the Donnelly brothers, whose family resided in the local Lucan area, and would become very well known throughout the community, if not the nation. But we will save that for another episode. The original church was believed to have been built prior to the 1840s. It is here that Archdeacon Burr preached for 25 years and where he died March 14, 1873. Just prior to this, in 1872, Reverend Robert Wilson, who took charge of the parish after the failing health of the Archdeacon, decided that through his guidance, the congregation would continue to grow and a new church would be needed. On the same lot as the original church, a new one was erected. The opening of the new English church at Burr took place with a ceremony on January 18, 1880, with Reverend Wilson being credited for the completion of the building due to his devotion. The census from 1888 lists 150 people in Burr. The businesses at the time being operated by the following: P. Bowie, the general merchant and postmaster; T. Creighton, hotel keeper; L. Lamburn and J. Story blacksmiths; J. S. Hodgins as the agent for an agricultural implements dealer. Also in 1888, perhaps the biggest thing to happen to Burr occurred. The cheese factory was erected at a cost of $2,500, and on May 2nd, cheese manufacturing began with production averaging about 600 pounds per day during the season. As the only manufacturing industry of the settlement, the cheese factory was the center of the livestock trade, and a number of the dealers from the area moved local, where residents became involved as well. The livestock trade listed the officers as follows: J.W. Ferguson, President; E.K. Sale, Vice President; P. Bowie, C. Goulding, and R.M. Hobbs, Directors; J.W. Taylor, Secretary, and James Bell, Treasurer. Charles S. Goulding was a farmer, a fine stock raiser, and director of the Burr cheese factory. Born on Concession 11, Lot 16, on March 5, 1829, son of Charles and Ann Goulding. Charles S. Goulding owned 100 acres of valuable land on which he spent his entire life. He was known as an expert in stock raising with a specialty of breeding fine horses. He was stockholder and director of the cheese factory. Charles became one of the most enterprising businessmen in the county. In 1859, he married Mary Talbot, a daughter of Edward Talbot, one of the early settlers of the township, and by her became father of 8 children, with only 4 surviving until adulthood. Mrs. Goulding died in 1878, loved by all who knew her. Another noteworthy individual was Francis Walden. He worked for Mr. Goulding and was a cheese contractor for the Burr cheese manufactory. Born in Biddulph Township, 1862. In November 1887, he was married to Miss Ann, a daughter of John Goulding. He then began handling cheese, and in May 1888, he took charge of the Burr cheese factory as manager, turning out about 600 pounds of cheese daily, which was sold in nearby London. Despite its small size, Burr, Ontario has maintained itself and supported various private businesses throughout the years. Today, there is a local shop called Legg's General Store, a furniture store, a second-hand bookstore, not to mention the churches and the 3 cemeteries. It's a lovely small hamlet with a rich history. I hope you enjoyed our trip to Burr today. If so, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I hope you join me again soon. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Goodbye.